Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Thank you for joining us today for Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from learning from other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Brittney King. Brittney is the owner and creator of Pain Painter Poetry and is here today to share a story of breaking cycles from generational dysfunction. She is the first generation to graduate high school and go off to college. She has learned to overcome setbacks, explore her pain, and find her own revelations. We are excited to hear what she has to say. Welcome, Brittney.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
And one of the things that I want to bring up is limiting beliefs, because I feel as if a lot of females, just individuals in general, have these kind of like hidden secret belief systems within themselves that they grew up with, that society gave them, that their parents gave them, that their culture gave them, that, you know, their environment gave them. And they hang on to these beliefs and they let these beliefs guide them through their lives. And a lot of times it's not beneficial for them to believe these things. So I'd like to talk for a moment about maybe a limiting belief that you had growing up and how you switched it, what you believe now.
So one of the biggest limited beliefs I believe I have or had is conflict is normal. I told you I grew up in a house with a lot of people. I've always seen dysfunctional relationships, but in the end, there was always peace, quote unquote. I'm using that word loosely because in my mind, it's okay to fight and argue. You'll come back from that. In my mind, that's normal. In my mind, you need that to even function. That's a part of functioning. But no, I don't. I no longer believe that. It hinders you when you're always arguing with somebody. It affects your mood. It affects your actions. I could have a jam-packed day. I could wake up ready for the world. We get into it, I'm down and sour. But to me, that's normal. I didn't realize how much of a hindrance it was until I became an adult. Like, no, check your attitude at the door. If you have an attitude, it's not my way to carry. Get rid of that. We don't have to argue. You know, I know couples, they think arguing is just part of being a couple. No, disagreements are fine, but if we're constantly in fight mode, that's a problem. And sometimes, you know, with my family, we would get into it a couple hours, a couple days go by, we're back normal, but we never address the problem. So even when dealing with my relationship with my child's father, we never addressed the problems. It was like, okay, I'm complaining. We get into it a couple hours, couple days later, we back on the love machine. But we never took care of the underlying sources of our anger, of our conflict. We just let it go. And it was never being addressed. So there was never going to be a solution.
Definitely. So conflict. Okay, so the limiting belief was that conflict is normal.
Yeah, dysfunctional. We was dysfunctional. We felt like arguing and fighting was a part of relationships.
So what do you believe now?
That communication is the best thing, and taking people for who they are and knowing what type of people you can deal with. You could be the nicest person in the world, but everybody isn't for you. You could be the kindest person in the world. You could be the meanest person in the world, but you have to know what your energy needs to thrive. And some people are energy leeches. They'll take it away from you. Yeah. They'll take your kindness. They'll have you sitting and sobbing. But you have to know your cutoff. hey, this is what I need, this is what I don't need, this is a deal breaker for me, your energy is throwing me off, so I'm going to exit, I'm going to leave, because I have to still grow. We talking about development, that's everlasting.
Yeah.
You have to continue to grow. And sometimes people don't know that they're hindering you, but you have to know when people are hindering you. Because everybody, it's not purposeful. Everybody doesn't hurt you intentionally, but they grew up with their ideal of love. You grew up with your ideal of love. And if you formed a different idea, people don't have to conform to that idea. They don't have to conform to your idea of love or kindness, but you don't have to take it either. Just like they don't have to take you what you have to offer, you don't have to take theirs, but you must surround yourself with people who are complementary to the person that you are.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that, because that was a big realization for me. Going into personal development, I was like, yes, me, yes, me, yes, me. And then there's this all of a sudden turning point where you realize, wow, if it's yes, me, then it's also yes, them. And everybody has their right to live authentically on how they want to live, whether they're doing personal development or not. We can't control that. I think that's so brilliant that you're saying that. It's a really good reminder for us that, like, yes, we can. And then, yes, they can too.
Exactly. I really believe in the pursuit of happiness. And the definition I learned as a kid, as long as my happiness doesn't infringe upon yours, that's the pursuit of happiness. So as long as my joy isn't harming to you, as long as your joy isn't harming to me, even if we can't make ends meet, make our joy meet, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't make you unhappy. You shouldn't make me unhappy.
Yeah, definitely. I know I've had that conversation with a few exes before, as far as like, hey, we just don't work. It just doesn't work. Like, it doesn't mean I'm bad. It doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean anyone's bad. It just literally, we just don't work together. And I think that that's a good realization, because I think sometimes people are stuck in relationships where you don't want to be the bad guy and they're not necessarily the bad guy. So then it seems like, well, then it should work, but it doesn't always work that
It
way.
doesn't. And that's because we're just attached. When you become attached to people, it's hard to let go. And then you start confusing it with love or lust. You start confusing it with emotions, but really you just made this person a part of your daily programming. And you need to be willing to reprogram. And you'll understand, hey, that wasn't even love.
Yeah.
Because when you realize what love really is, they weren't giving it to you.
Yeah.
And if they gave you their idea of love and you didn't need it, you were settling, and you never have to settle.
Yeah, definitely. All this amazing, freaking inspiring things that you're dropping here for our audience. I just want to give a shout out real fast to the people that are watching live. We thank you so much for being here. We thank you so much for listening and supporting Brittney and the Her Version community here. Brittney, since we've got a large audience here hanging out, listening to you, your story, the things you've been through, your inspiring thoughts, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your business, a little bit about the poetry that you do, and kind of let us know what you're doing for the humans.
Yes, ma'am. So as stated, I am a poet. And honestly, I use my poetry to help me through. I wrote this book. It's called Pain Painter Poetry. It can be found on my website or Amazon or Barnes and Nobles. But the beginning of the poem, because a lot of people hear pain and they think pain, and you should. There's a lot of pain in the book. But in order for me to get over the pain that I felt, I had to discover it, uncover it, take it dead on. I couldn't keep running from it because I realized I was a runner. I ran away from my problems. But the more I ran away, the bigger my problems became. So in the beginning of the book, I explore pain on all different levels, from love to drugs to friendships, family members, just self-love, suicide, whatever you can think of. But in the end of the book, there's joy, there's peace. It tells you how I found that peace, how I found that happiness. And hopefully you'll be able to do the same. So right now, this book is just the biggest part of me. This is the first time I actually go back and read my poetry because it's strength. And like I said earlier, I am starting a swimwear line. It's not up yet, but for women who, just want to look sexy on the beach and don't want to go through all the altercations of their body. And if they did, you still need compression material, just because I'm a strong advocate for women who've been in domestic violence, women who've been in any type of situation. I'm really a strong advocate for people. I want people to reach their best selves. That's why I still educate. That's why I still work with GED students, because it's never too late. It's never too late to change your environment. It's never too late to change your career. It's never too late to change your inside self. As long as you have breath in your body, I just want to promote that peace and prosperity. So that's what the book is all about. If you ever visit the website, I post motivational videos for all people, not just women, but I am a woman first.
So they can, your website is just for those watching live right now, her website is right above her head, thebreezykingshow.com. And how much is your book selling for?
It is $8.45.
That's a steal, girl.
It is.
That's a steal. That's awesome. Well, definitely encourage those of you that are watching to check out her website. Grab that book, check out some of the poetry. I actually watched a few of the videos. So inspiring on so many levels, and definitely a woman who speaks to the soul 100%.